My brothers and sisters, Vessel of Truth here, Jay from Virginia for the New People. And I'm back. I thank you all for all the support in the live streams. If you notice, I actually am looking into doing some shorts. So it's something new. I put up a test one, just a rehash of some info I used in a video prior, about helping people understand, the concept of the amount of a million and billion and so on and so forth. But this is going to be the video for marriage conduct, to close out the marriage stuff. It's a touchy subject, but I just want people to know it isn't me that's saying this. I'll have some commentary along the way, but the Father, when He created us, He knew all of this, and He set down the guidelines. And who else would know the do's and the don'ts in a marriage other than, our Creator? And that's what I want people to understand. We need to get rid of that concept of the way we've looked at marriage and get back to the biblical view of it. Because marriage is great and wonderful if it's done the way the Father commands it to be done. There's less fighting and bickering and so on and so forth. But right off the get-go, I want people to know marriage is not easy. It takes both people working together. And if you don't have that, or if you're unequally yoked, one is a believer and the other one isn't, it makes things even harder. So, let's come out of the world and get back to doing things the way the Father said to do them. So let's go ahead and start off in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and we'll start here at verse 2. It says, "Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife hath not power over her own body, but the husband. And likewise also the husband hath not power over his body, but the wife. Defraud you not one another, except it be with consent for a time, that you may give yourself to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that our enemy, Satan, Gadriel, tempt you not for your incontinency." Now, this right off the bat is huge, because society today has made everything about sex. Sex, 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 sex. And women have become devilish because they use sex as a means to control their husband. And I'm just here to tell you, we're going to get it out right off the bat. Woman, whoever you are, if you're using sex to manipulate your husband in any way, you're a witch, because that's what the Father says that is equal to. It's a form of witchcraft, trying to use your womanly assets to control a man. When the divine order that Father sat down, as we've seen in the other videos, is the Father, the Son, Yeshua, then the man, then the woman. And that is just the way it is. You know, this whole 60s thing of, you know, the women's rights and all this stuff, trying to make women equals and all this stuff, it was a big slap in the face to the father, as I said. You know, because of what happened in the Garden of Eden, that is why things were the way they were. And the father is the one that set them that way. It's not male chauvinist pig. It's not men trying to keep the woman down. It's just the fact that the Creator set it into that position. You know, this is a huge issue that people get divorced over because the woman won't render due benevolence to the man when he wants it, because maybe she doesn't have that big of a drive. It doesn't matter. If there's no medical problems or anything like that, due benevolence should be rendered. But if there is, you know, like pain or something going on, then that's when the two come together and you discuss, hey, okay, let's, you know, wait a little bit, you know, let the woman heal up or whatever that's going on. If she's, you know, on her period or something like that, then there isn't supposed to be any due benevolence during that time as well. It is an abomination unto the Father. Men, don't be putting yourself in a category where you're looking at porn and you're getting yourself all hot and bothered, and then you go home to your wife just to try to do, you know, these theatrics that you're watching on, you know, these videos and all that. I'm sorry, but that is, it's wrong. It's sin, for one, because the porn itself is you're watching a child, a creation of the Father, a daughter, you know, misuse herself in open sin without having respect for her own self, and you're taking part in it, condoning it, even if you're paying for that porn. You know, you're supposed to get married to avoid fornication. In other words, another woman out there should not be able to tempt you because you have your own goods at the house. Women, same way. A man shouldn't be able to tempt you because you have your own goods at home. That keeps you from fornication. And, you know, one of the biggest thing is, you know, people talk about, well, I'm just so tempted. I just can't be with one person. Listen, God covered that. And that, 1 Corinthians, we're still in 1 Corinthians, I think it's chapter 10, verse 13. It says, there hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But Yahuah is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. So there is no temptation out there but that which is common unto man. We all have the same temptation. We all fight against the same enemy. Some of us have received, you know, mastery over this, that, or the other. That's why iron sharpens iron. That's why us brothers and sisters should confess our faults one to another and help each other out. There's no shame. But people want to make this out to be some juicy gossip or something. Shame on you. You get your jollies off just because your brother or your sister's out having a hard time. There go you, if it wasn't for the grace of Yahuah. You know, this is serious stuff. You know, that when you get married and things come to a divorce, God hates divorce. Not to mention you destroying that which he put together. You made an oath. And if you all were virgins, there's a blood bond there. I mean, we've got to start doing things as the Father commands. You know, I shouldn't even, just say men with porn, because there's porn out there for women. You know, if you're looking into this homosexuality stuff and all that, and you and your wife together are watching porn, I'm sorry, you're in sin. That's just a big, huge red flag and an open door for the enemy to come in and destroy your life. Knock it off. Stop. Repent. Cry out to the Father. He'll deliver you of it. You know, the grass is not greener on the other side just because you see someone else out at the store and they're winking at you and they're hitting on you, or some other big beefcake guy, is flirting with you, married woman. The grass is not greener on the other side. That's just the enemy trying to get you to come out of the covering of your husband and commit sin and destroy what you have. As we discussed, the Bible, it makes way of escape for, abuse and all this. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about literal living conduct in your marriage, how a man should treat the woman and how the woman should treat the man. First and foremost, there's got to be trust. If you don't trust the person you married, you should have never married them. That's first and foremost. Because if you don't have trust, you don't have nothing. You don't have peace of mind. I mean, what can you do there? And if, one or the other has been unfaithful, trust can be earned back. Forgiveness has to rule. And this is a bigger point, because I know people that where one or the other has went wayward, and they were able to come together and work things out, and forgiveness. Once that forgiveness has been put in place, do not be throwing it up into either's face. It's done. It's over. It's water under the bridge. If the Father has heard your confession and you have repented of it, it's done and it's over. Even the Father himself doesn't remember it, because he throws our sin into the sea of forgetfulness. It's as far as east is from west. And, I applaud people that can stand up and be an adult and say, okay, I forgive you, but this is going to take some time to, for me to trust you again. You're going to have to earn my trust back. And, if it's done in that godly way, it can be done, because the Father himself will help whoever it is in the situation. Husbands, you've got a lot on your shoulders. You are the head of the household. Don't be letting your woman bark orders and you just cowering down, being like a little wuss man. You are the head given by God. It's his order. Stand up and be a man. Sometimes even the woman needs to be put in her place. We need to come together. We discuss and work things out. Take it to the Father in prayer. And then the decision ultimately does fall to the man's shoes. But always make the Father a part of it. Make your spouse part of every decision as well. Come together in prayer together. You know, a family that prays together stays together. That's not just a saying, that's a truth. But it seems, for some reason, most men and women have very hard times coming together with the one they love. They can go and pray in anything else, but when it comes to being alone with their husband or their wife, they just have problems praying together, or even praying for one another, or even studying together. You know, the Father has everything lined out for us. You know, let's go back over here to chapter 7 of 1 Corinthians, chapter 7. Even down lower, it's, I guess, 32. Yeah. But I would not have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried careth for the things that belong to the Lord. See, when you get married, things change spiritually. And this is something that most people really don't think about. But, you know, yes, you have another mouth to feed in the household, but spiritually is what matters. A single person, they're not worried about anything but the things of God and, you know, everyday life. You know, so they're thinking about how to please the Lord. Verse 33, though, it goes in to start telling us some stuff. It says, but he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife. There is difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman careth for the things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and spirit. But she that is married careth for the things of the world, how she may please her husband. That's hard. If you and your wife are not together, you know, seeking the face of the Father and working that relationship. Husbands, you are the covering for the woman. It goes God, Son, man, woman. God's divine order. Christ is the covering of the man is the covering of the woman. And if you have any type of, you know, discord going on between you and your spouse, man to woman or the woman to the man, don't even bother praying, because the Father says He'll not hear you. Work out your problems. And if it's such a big one, pray to the Father together and work that problem out. The answer is always in the Word. And usually it takes one or the other having to humble themselves or even grow in maturity to see the truth that the other one is speaking. This is hard work. But, you know, from the time you marry someone, you begin to come together and grow together. Supposed to, anyway. But in today's society, it's all about me, 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 me. You know, married people, you know, they don't even think about their wife because they're too busy about me, 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 me. You've got to be with your wife, and your wife has to be with the husband. You know, you hear the saying, you know, abstinence, you know, being absent makes the heart grow fonder. That is true, but it also allows the enemy to come in with temptation of other people in your life. This is to be honest, you know, if the man or the woman has a very, very high sex drive and all that, and the man is off to work, or the woman, and you're not together, the enemy will throw all kinds of bait right in front of you, just to see what you'll do. That's why the men should pave the course of walking in obedience to the Father. Because even if you're unequally yoked, the light of the Father coming from you and your actions and your words to your spouse who is an unbeliever will bring them around, and they will want what you have, because you will have a peace and you'll have a glow. They'll just have an air about you that they don't have. And it works the other way around too. If the wife is the one that has the relationship with the Father, you know, she's still not the head of the household, but in her actions and words, she can win the husband over. And, you know, that's where work comes in. You know, you've got to have, from that, you've got to have self-control. You know, most men are just big children. And I hate to say that, but it's true in a lot of areas, because they just want someone to take care of them, or they want sex. And on the other hand, you got women that they don't even know how to cook. They don't want to work around the house. They don't want to do dishes. And you know, housework and all that stuff isn't just the woman. If the man is the one that's working all the time and the woman doesn't work, then by all means, she should take up the slack. I'm not characterizing nothing. I'm just going, you know, common sense. You know, if the man is, you know, working hard and, you know, he's the one bringing home, making the living, you know, paying the bills and so on and so forth, you know, you have to be 50-50. You know, if you're one of these men that's afraid to do dishes, or just refuse to do dishes, or clean up, or be nice and tidy or whatever, I mean, are you afraid your manhood is going to wash off? Because if it is, I mean, you probably need to go to a doctor or something. Hit your knees. Get rid of that. Just because you're the man doesn't make you above this or that. If you was by yourself, you'd have to clean up your own mess. But at the same time, don't be, you know, spiteful and messing things up just to get at your wife, to give her something to do. You know, love and respect and honor one each other. You know, this is the person that you chose to be with for the rest of your life. Till death do you part, as we learned in the last video. And, you know, Scripture has a lot to say about it. You know, 1 Peter, let's go to 1 Peter. That's a good one. And, you know, just the word itself, you know, without commentary, does wonders for telling us everything that we need to know. It's just a sad fact that most people really didn't think ahead before they got married. They were in lust. They called it love, but most people are in lust. And that comes back to bite a lot of people. So, 1 Peter chapter 3, it says, "Likewise, you wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives." Now, subjection. That's a big one. There are wives out there that have been drinking the Kool-Aid of women power. A woman can do anything a man can do and even do it better. I'm sorry. let's just get real. Our Creator made the man first, and then made the woman for the man as a helpmate. I'm not putting anyone down. I'm just letting the word speak for itself. You know, the Father had it all laid out before women's rights and women power and, you know, all this garbage got started. You know, all through the Bible we read about, you know, the stories of men. Why? Because it's the men that the Father usually works through. There can be a prophetess, as we spoke of, but He never called a woman to preach His word, and never will. There is a such thing as a prophetess. We went over that difference before. Submitting to your husband doesn't mean you become a doormat. The woman is there to even challenge the man on an issue. If you really are seeing it in a different way and you think that the man is really messed up, then yes, have a good, intense conversation. Man, the husband, you need to sit and listen to the arguments of your wife and hear her out, because she is your helpmate. She may be seeing something that you haven't seen yet or haven't thought of. We're not infallible. There is no ego in a marriage. You know, it's already set by the Creator. The man's the head of the household. Hey, no discussion, no argument. That's just set in stone. So don't worry about it. Just be what the Father said. And wives, allow your man. Some men are intimidated, you know, to be that head. You know, you just have to walk in confidence, knowing that the Father will order your footsteps. If you're walking in obedience and you're making the Father a part of your life, hey, it may be hard as you're getting going, but as you keep going, it'll get easier. But women, don't be a doormat. But ultimately, in the end, the man will make the choice. And sadly, men, you will make a decision and you will be wrong. Women, wives, don't hold it over your husband's head. They're not infallible. There will be mistakes made along the way on both sides. You know, we live and we learn. And, you know, working together is a huge part of the marriage. Both the husband and the wife working together. It goes on, verse 2, it says, while they behold your chaste conversations coupled with fear, whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair and of wearing of gold or of putting on of apparel. This is talking about how a woman should adorn herself. You know, I'm one of the people, I don't wear jewelry because I know where jewelry came from. I don't think it's not a salvation issue, but it was part of the forbidden knowledge that the fallen angels gave to mankind, along with makeup. So makeup, jewelry, the art of, you know, rings and necklaces and all that, it all came from the fallen. And it was never meant for us. So I'm one of the ones, I just don't really have jewelry or any of that, but to each their own. The Father warns women about, you know, going too far. where, you know, you almost make your hair or your jewelry or your makeup an idol, to where you're putting so much effort to where you don't even look like yourself after you've done makeup. You see it all the time in social media. You see this, I'm not being mean, but just get the point across. You see this butt ugly person, and then 20 minutes later, after they're caking on with a putty knife all this makeup and stuff, a total different person that is beautiful. I'm sorry. That's a form of witchcraft. And it's, you know, a form of having, you know, no self-respect. Every single person is beautiful in the eyes of the Father. You are fearfully and wonderfully made in the image and the likeness of the Father. Be proud of who you are. There ain't but one of you. You know, be confident of who you are. Don't allow, you know, makeup or jewelry or certain style of clothes. None of that matters. It matters what's in the heart here. It matters if you have that relationship, if you're walking that narrow path. And the narrow path is wonderful if you have someone to walk it with. That's why, you know, people crave fellowship, true fellowship. Not just a getting together of talking about, you know, hey man, we did this and we did that. We're talking about actual edification, coming together with brothers and sisters that are like-minded and seeking the face of the Father, praying for one another and laying hands upon the sick and them being healed, delivered, and set free. Those who are oppressed with demons and spirits and that, casting them out. This is what we need to get back to. We need to put this pettiness and all this garbage to the side and get back to doing it the way the Father commanded us to do it. Verse 4, but let it be the hidden man of the heart. As I was saying, it matters what's in the heart. In that which is not corruptible. Yes, the heart, as its true nature, is not corruptible. Even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Yahuah a great price. You don't have to be a blabbermouth and talk all the time to make someone like you. Let your words be few. Just be who you are. You know, we get in trouble with our much speaking. You know, we all know someone that talks so much they just always insert their foot in their mouth because they just won't shut up. You know, then you have those that are on the other side that they'd rather be on the phone texting or something like that. We were meant to talk face to face, but only talk when you have something to say. Don't be repeating gossip. Don't be judging others. You know, let all of your speech and your actions be seasoned by the salt of the Spirit of the Father. For after this manner, in the old time, the holy woman also, who trusted in Yahuah, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands. So they even give you the example, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as you do well, and are not afraid with any amazement. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. You know, that's huge right there. I have known pastors that would have a falling out with their spouse, and they would head to preach a sermon. Do you really think that he had anything profitable to say to the congregation? No. The Spirit of the Father was not on him. He was in sin. You know, it's sin to allow the sun to go down on your wrath. And if you're having wrath towards your spouse, what does the Bible say? It says the wrath of man works not the righteousness of Yahuah. You know, we're fallible beings. We're but flesh. It's not hard to apologize. But don't be foolish running your mouth and cussing out the person that you love, cussing at them, calling them names. How dare you? I don't care if she did deserve it. You, the husband, the stronger vessel, the head of the household, you need to set the example. Shut your mouth and treat her the way she should be treated according to the Father. Women, don't nag your husbands. You know, this is not rocket science. You know, a man that has a loving wife that motivates him and tells him how much, you know, they appreciate what he does and paying the bills. I mean, you know, just anything and everything. It goes way farther than yelling and screaming and acting like an idiot, beating holes in your walls and knocking down your doors. I mean, are you a tyrant? Are you so insecure that you got to act like, you know, an ape to the woman you supposedly love? No. You're blowing it. You know, and if you have acted that way, apologize and stop. Repent of it. You need to get self-control. Don't allow your emotions to run away with you, both husbands and wives. You know, treat your husband, treat your wife the way you want to be treated. You know, it's not hard. I've known people in my past, and even now, that don't have a great relationship with their spouse, but yet are just wonderful people, will do anything for you. But have a problem with their own spouse. Allow the Word to wash over you and change you. There's no reason to have an attitude. There's no reason to cuss another person. Remember, you will account for every idle word that you speak. And that's scary. Because some people speak a lot of words. And a lot of those words are hurtful. And if you're putting down your wife and that, how is that love? You know, everything that you say and everything you do towards your spouse, whether you're the husband or whether you're the wife, should lift them up or edify them. You know, 1 Timothy chapter 2, I think it is, 1 Timothy 2:12. Actually, we'll go back to 10. It says, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works, let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. In other words, submittance to her husband. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam is first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness in sobriety. The reason everything is the way it is from what happened at the very start. Father didn't change his mind. He didn't change up just for you. There's no exceptions to this rule. But some men abuse it. They actually allow an ego, or they become male chauvinist, a woman hater. Men that have been emasculated by women tend to lash out. And wives, if you ever do that to your husband, you need to repent, because you are on sore thin ice with the Father. He does not like that type of rebellion. Because not only are you rebelling against your husband, you're rebelling against his covering, Christ, and then the Father. Husbands, if you're mistreating your wife, you are on sorely thin ice. Because she's the weaker vessel. You're her covering. You are the one to guide them and to walk that narrow path. You're the one that takes the hits for the woman, covering her and the children, if you have any. There is a lot of responsibility. And it's not easy. That's why we have to always keep that relationship with the Father going, because He is our refuge. He is our peace. He's our helper. He's our stronghold that we can run into and be safe. He's our guide. Husbands, Christ is your covering. But you have a job to cover your wife. And, just don't do it the way the world does it. If you are, I've known people that's married that whenever they got married, the husband will leave his wife at home to go out and be with the men. That's okay from time to time. But you're not a kid anymore. Grow up. You got a wife. Hopefully you're working towards a house and family and, having what you're supposed to have. Doing the things of the Father, not the things of the world. Women, I've seen those who want to go out with the girls. They want to go to the bars and all that and flirt with other men while you're married. Don't act like a whore. You have a man that you are to be loyal with. And the same thing with men. Don't go out looking for a whore. And I'm saying this because it's the biblical context. A woman that goes from man to man to man to man is called a whore. A man that goes from woman to woman to woman to woman is a whoremonger. And that is biblical. Actually, I do believe I covered that in the last video about divorce and remarriage. The Father has made such a beautiful thing that has been corrupted and perverted. It's all about, control and trying to one up the other one. She or he is not only your spouse, it should be your best friend besides the Father. You know, if you have a good spouse and a rock solid marriage built upon the rock, you're unstoppable. Because the enemy can't pick at you about her or him, and you're seeking the face of the Father. And if you're doing, the work that the Father commands us all to do, to spread the gospel of the kingdom, you are one of the biggest things the enemy hates. It's destroying him. Why do you think he has done his best to take out the family unit? Ephesians 5. Ephesians 5, I guess 20. Yeah. Verse 22 says, "Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husband." Notice it's your own husband. You don't have to worry about listening to the other men. Unless they're, your elders. You give respect whom respect is due. But submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. In everything. Yes, in everything. Husbands, love your wives. Love your wife, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. In other words, the one that you're married, would you die for them? I mean, I know people right now that if it meant their life, they'd say, hey man, kill them. Go on, set me free. Don't let yourself get into that situation. That's where the enemy thrives, destroying people. They're just poison. Love your wife. Love your husband. How hard is it to, lift them up? It's really easy to rip anybody down. There are people out there that it's even hard to edify them, because whenever they hear something that they think could be negative, they automatically go into that, I'm just too bad, I'm just too stupid, or I'm just this, or I'm just that. No. There should be edification that should go on between the man and the wife. Sometimes the wife may even educate the man about something. It's give and it's take. And don't be one of them people that talks about your problems to everyone and put it on social media. You're just defrauding the person that you said you loved. You're just looking for, a gang of people to get on your side and support you against what you say is so bad or so wrong. It's you that said, I do, and swore allegiance till death do you part. Deal with it. Put your big girl panties on or your big boy pants on and work it out like an adult. Too much babies going around. Would they hurt my feelings? Or they said lie about me. Or they just don't understand. Grow up. Do you really think the Father is going to listen to that? You cry out to, Father, my wife is this, my wife is that, and it's just all about them. But yet, you don't look at yourself. What did you do to cause them to be that way? Or what did she do to cause him to be that way? Yeah, it's one of them, oh me or amen kind of a thing, huh? You know, nobody has arrived. I have known people that they had a marriage unlike anything I've ever seen before. And that's a rare thing nowadays. So much so that if the wife heard someone say something about their husband, she automatically would defend her husband. To the death even. And the husband, if he heard someone say something about his wife, he would end that. You know, that's what we are to be. We are to be one with whoever we're married to, like Christ is one with the Father. That is hard. Let's keep reading. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. Does this describe you? So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. And no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourished and cherished it, even as the Lord the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. Brothers and sisters, we all have seen great examples of married couples. But on the other hand, we have seen far more horrible, putrid examples of a married couple. Be a godly man and a godly woman. If you're treating the other, whoever, if you're the man or the woman, if you're treating the other in the marriage as Christ would do it, you'll not go wrong. All your egos and that gets set to the side. There'll be trying times. Always are. But the Father didn't make it impossible. He just made it to where you have to work for it. The best things come to those who wait. If you're not putting in the effort, then you're not going to have that prize jewel. You know, look at Colossians. Uh, 18 and 19. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as it is fit in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives, and be not bitter against them. You know, have you noticed this is a big theme with the Father? Love, love, love. Love covers a multitude of sin. If you truly love someone, you'll do whatever it takes for them. You know, marriage is a beautiful and wonderful thing. You know, and between a man and a woman, all is fair. That's what Hebrews 13:4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. What does it mean the marriage bed is undefiled? Whatever y'all do is what you do. I'll leave it at that. You know, you are in this marriage. The man has his wife to keep from fornication. The woman has her husband to keep from fornication. In other words, if the man has an itch or the woman has an itch, you are the one that she'll use to scratch it. We can all understand. Especially in this society that we live in. I mean, TV was bad when I quit watching it long ago. I know it's 1,000 times worse, so it's just the truth. And then, you know, again, Titus. I always think it farther down. Titus chapter 2. You know, aged women. This is verse 3. Chapter 2, Titus, verse 3. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. We all know what they teach. That they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husband, that the word of Yahuah be not blasphemed. You know, it's time that men start seeing women not as sexual objects, but seeing them the way the Father sees them. You know, the Bible says that a man who finds a good woman finds a great thing. A good woman or a good man today is very, very hard to find. And if you are in a marriage right now and you know that the person you're married to, they are the one that you want to be with the rest of your life, then let them know. Make them know it. Work it out. Put up the childish things. You know, like Paul said, he says, you know, when I was a child, I acted and talked like a child, but when I grew up and become an adult, I put away childish things. You know, don't run from your mistakes. You know, own it. Apologize. Just because you messed up and you have to apologize to your wife, don't mean your masculinity is going to wash off. It'll strengthen you. She will respect you for it. Same with your women. Women, wives, apologize to your husbands for being snarky or hateful or bitter or whatever. You have to work that relationship. Don't run from it. You know, marriage is work. Stop acting like a little kid on both parts. The husband or the wife. One or the other. I've seen it 1,000 times. You see it portrayed on the tell lie vision. Give it up. Let it go. You know, I'll leave it at that. I've covered most areas. I could go on, but I know that this will make both the man or the woman think. And that's the main thing. The Word of Yahuah is our guide. It will help us through all things. Embrace it. Make it a part of you. And love that person you married. Do what it takes to make it work. Humble yourself if needed. But definitely cry out to the Father to help you. And come together as man and wife in prayer, in studying, in worship. And you will find your marriage will change. And you'll go from glory to glory to glory. I'll leave it at that. I thank you all for being a part. I pray everybody's having a good Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. I love you all. And I pray that you're seeing the truth that we really need to turn back and do things God's way. The Father knows best always. It's time we get the revelation and start doing as He says. Not just in word, but in action. Let His light shine. You know, the clock is ticking. Time is running out. We have less time now than what we had before. Keep your eyes on the face of the Father. Keep seeking Him. Still just keep crying out to Him for more and more and more. As always, if you need to get a hold of me, email me at jtt1777@outlook.com, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And of course, check out the community page. I'm going to see if I can get a hold of Greg and see when he'd like to do another live. And if there's anybody out there that would like to come on, be a part of the live, hit me up. Let me know. We'll make it happen. But with that, I pray you just take all this to prayer. I pray it changes your life. I pray it invigorates and challenges you in your marriages that you have now. But I'm still praying for you all. I thank you that's praying for me. And just with that, I pray the blessings of Yahuah be upon you. Shabbat Shalom. And I will catch you all in the next one.